Hey there, I want to talk about re-entry, like a rocket ship. That's exactly what it feels like sometimes, I think, when we have an awakening and we're off in like a vast spacious bliss, and then we have to come back to earth, so to speak. But I really want to talk about it in the context that it's something that nobody wants to talk about. I mean, I just wrote a blog piece about it, and I thought, you know, it's about time somebody really stepped up and said something about this reintegration or re-entry process or phase of awakening. You don't have an awakening to bliss, vast, spacious unity, a sense of being everything and nothing at the same time, all of these like rewirings, and then just stay there, static. You actually experience that, and then over time, and you know what, everyone is different. So for me, I was in that vast spacious bliss state for 5 months, and then I began to reintegrate. And it's kind of interesting because it's not like you lose your enlightenment. You know, I can't go anywhere. I mean, you can't unsee what has been seen. You can't unrecognize or unrealize what has been realized. But now it comes into the world with you. It comes into practice with you. And in that re-entry, you can kind of burn up sometimes, you know, like a rocket coming through the atmosphere. And, you know, the burn up can be mostly the friction that's caused by your belief that this shouldn't be happening. So the denial, the repression, the suppression, the hiding of your humanity from the world because you are enlightened. And I went through that myself at one point. It was really about 1.5 years after my awakening shift, that I first experienced this kind of friction of my own sense of what I should be like in the world and what was actually showing up. So I'll give you one example. Because the kind of re-entry process involves both re-entry into undigested experiences and stored emotions in our body, mind complex, karma from perhaps other lives or residual tendencies, and also to some degree family or ancestral patterns. So so these things have to kind of be purified or integrated in this return to the world with our awakened consciousness. And I had this great experience of creating a magazine called Rebel Sex, and it was going to be all about a bedroom revolution, and I was going to reclaim our inherent sexual innocence. And I remember one guy said to me, he wrote me a note, and he said, you know, you could at least point people roughly in the direction of enlightenment. And he was really thinking, what the hell are you doing? You know, you're the awakened dreamer, now you're starting a sex magazine. Well, the rug got pulled out from underneath my feet. AOL, sorry, that's a flashback. Facebook pulled the plug from my 20,000 fans on my Facebook page because they were going through a purge of anything sexual back then. This is like 3 years ago. And it all fell apart overnight. And I grieved that loss. I grieved that loss because it felt like a creative loss. It felt like a loss of a dream. And yet I also saw in the very same instant, like almost like a flash, that this was an old family pattern, a system pattern playing out, and I was purifying and releasing it and letting it go in this collapse of this endeavor. And it was because sexual secrecy and sexual shame goes up my family line, and I was looking to restore and heal and reverse that. I was looking to do the anti-script to that. But not consciously, unconsciously. And yet, this perfection of it falling apart and me having to come face to face with what I'd actually been doing allowed for that to completely release from my body, mind, being complex. And I would say healed the system up the line as well. You know, time and space are kind of funky. So a healing here now can heal the sexual secrecy and shame that would go back in time, and certainly down my line and forward. But the point of the story isn't to talk about the family systems theory, is to say, guess what? Your awakening is a beginning. It's a threshold. You cross over a line, you spend some time lounging in the vastness, as I used to say. It's very pleasurable, quite enjoyable to be, you know, untriggered, non-reactive, super spacious, super chill. But you will come back to the body, mind, being. You will come through a re-entry phase, and then life will become a different kind of sweet, a different kind of ordinary. So I wrote a blog post about it, and I'll append the blog post to the bottom of my video. So if you want to read about it too, you can. Thanks for tuning in. And in the meantime, just have a great, fantastic day. I'm at the cottage. I'm going to show you a bit about where I am, if I can do that without knocking something over. I always do this, right? It's a rainy day at my cottage. Well, it's not raining right now, but it was earlier. Okay. Oh my God, that's a mess. Thanks a lot.